come in screaming. It's really annoying. And Mike came in like with a high-pitched scream last time. It was actually pretty ridiculous. And of course, people get to see us coming in hot. And I love that way of entering the show. How you doing, everybody? We're on the Metal Lab this week, episode 125. And I am joined this week by a very different head, and that's Jay.
I'm very surprised, Jay.
I'm very surprised, Jay, because I told Jay we were starting, but we weren't sure when the start broadcast was going to just pick up. But with that said, it's been a week. I got a little bit of practice in with my team in National. I actually came up with a number as to my chances against a Krang team. And the number is actually kind of funny because I've got a more than 50% chance of winning the map roll. But if I win the map roll, which is the only chance that I have, more than 20%, I think it's a 25% chance if my opponent happens to not understand how my team works in a full moon while there's pigs flying, and ultimately I have like a 1% chance of beating a Krang with my team, and I'm gonna have to just suffer that. I also got a chance to do some release sealed, but Jay, you had a bit of a bigger weekend than I did. Tell them all about that.
Very long extended Clicks weekend. I went to Michigan for their open, but I didn't know what the set they were going to use was Avengers Defenders, and that made me very sad.
Because you don't get a lot of practice with that ahead of time.
No, although I got a couple events in between the pre-release, which was 2 booster sealed, opening day event on Thursday, which is also standard 2 booster sealed, and then after Adam Cole and I went to a event to practice on Friday night, which was all fun and stuff. I ended up going 1-2 at 401 games this week on Thursday because I pulled a super rare, but it was Old Man Cap, who's just as important piece, so that didn't go well. And there was some confusion about how the whole Defenders thing work and trait works, and if you can get your own bonus, like if Man-Thing could give himself his bonus, and then it was ruled that yes, but pretty sure that's not, and I'm hoping that the WizKids Rules Forum answers my question on that, because that's a very important question, considering that our qualifiers at Canadian Nationals is so lots of those dudes. Then I went 2-1 at the practice one on Friday, in which I basically pulled my rare thing of Rare Strange, who was fantastic.
Oh, he's so
giving
good.
all your little weenie guys +1 attack and damage no matter what is yes. Yes, please. I would like that on my team. Thank you very much. And then on Saturday was the actual event where I got lucky and sealed for once, and I pulled Man-Thing, who was quite good. I also played Karigi, who was the random hand dude in the uncommon slot, who was actually not bad. He gives Hydra out to my wild cards that I had. He has leadership. He's 65 points. Surprising damage output with super strength for a 65-point character. Even a stop click, so his life is pretty decent. I also played the amazing 50-point Black Panther, the one with traded leap senses and has outwit in the Marvel Knights trait. So he worked out pretty well. I also surprisingly got good use out of Jessica Jones because shutting off stealth was really useful when I had both Hydra and outwit, as well as the fact that she's a leaping wild card who can also take Hydra to further up my odds to hit. And then I followed it up with probably my favorite 2 figures in the set, which are the Shifting Focus Wasps, who, considering that they can pull tokens without leadership off of pretty much anybody in the set who's not ridiculously high points for the set, and the dual target incap for all the swarms, she works out very well. I ended up going 4-1 in Swiss, which was very lucky considering some of the things I could have faced. Like, Nick Peterson had an Iron Man super rare. There were 2 World Breakers and a bunch of other stuff that were just really not great. Yeah, my one loss was to a Claw, and that was a very close game, going very back and forth based on some dice. Like my Man-Thing on his awesome clicks rolling a crit miss when he needed a 4. So that was fine and dandy. But I managed to make it in with 4-1. And then we redrafted boosters, which was good because Nick Peterson was in, and he did not pull Iron Man again, but I did. That worked out very well for me. So in this particular, in the cut, I played Iron Man at full, a Hand Ninja because I love the Hydra Team ability, apparently. I got both Shifting Focus Wasps again. Rocket Launcher Punisher, who was a very, very productive member of the team. And the 30 points outwitting Black Panther, but no Shifting Focus option. Round 1 was against a gentleman, his name I can't remember, who was playing the Moon Knight Super Rare, Punishers, one copy, shifting back and forth. Common Daredevil, the red costume one. Whiplash, and I think... So he had some pretty good strike range on Punisher with the 9 or 8 range plus Punisher Perplex to blast everything into oblivion. So I had to maneuver around to let him not hit me. And then I killed... Oh, he also had the 50-point Black Panther. So I killed that Black Panther. And then I basically hid behind some walls. So you had to come to me. Went very back and forth with my Iron Man basically pulling all of the weight. And basically taking his team in the end. Although he got points. I don't remember from what, though. So then top 4, which is where I wanted to get to at least win the Pym tank, because I don't want to spend money on that thing, which is absolutely a necessity in the meta right now. And it will be until it retires. So I played against the gentleman who beat me in Swiss, who had pulled Claw again.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, right?
It's like, well, as if he didn't already know how to use it.
Yeah. Play of the game was Punisher because he hit Claw with his defense power, has no super senses thanks to Iron Man, rolling a crit hit for 5 damage, which also knocked him back into a wall to just one-shot Claw.
Yeah.
So that, yeah, he basically, he had a rocket launcher and he had a little 4-leaf clover, and it was all just beautiful. And then that was basically his whole team, so it was just downhill from there. Then I had beaten Tim Bold in Swiss, and he came back for his revenge. In the first game we played, he was playing an 8-man squad with, I don't think his rare was the Rare Swordsman. And in this game, he had another 8-man squad, which was 2 Defenders Hawkeyes, Shifting Focus Strange having the Rare and the Taxi option, Blades Elektra, Common Daredevil, Knifey Punisher, and I hope that's all 8 of them because I can't remember. It was just a lot of attackers. So he won map roll, and he picked the Chemical Plant from Civil War, which is basically that one pink map with all the elevated and no blocking. So it's terrible. We basically both moved out, and it was just a matter of who put out bait and who took the bait and what happened from then. So I think I let him kill my Hand Ninja. I killed a Hawkeye. The problem was, aside from the 2 Hawkeyes having 4 clicks, everything else on his team had more than 4, and Iron Man having 4 damage will not one-shot those things. And it wasn't like I could guarantee myself picking Super Strength either, because that was a lot of Super Senses they could just roll out of. So, unfortunately, between Doctor Strange, the Rare, coming back to bite me with the +1 attack and damage, he just had so many attackers that I could not possibly keep up. But I got second, and that was pretty good.
Well, that's pretty amazing, actually.
And
second
it's
how many players?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I think something like 4, in the area of 40.
In the area of 40. Okay, so still a lot of players, which means, like you said, multiple chases did appear in the Swiss rounds, which means,
yeah,
and you didn't mention pulling one, therefore, chase.
No, just the 2 super rares, yeah.
Chase not required. It does take work. This is a very tactical set where you end up playing a lot of your packs, and most of the decision I've found in 3 sealed builds that I have come across. So let's run the numbers on this one. So 3 seals, which means 6 packs that I have opened up of this set, I have not used out of 30 figures 6.
Wow, that's impressive.
Nope, the number's closer to 7 because I use a lot. I end up, like, when I get Shifting Focus, I just use it. So,
right, obviously,
yeah.
all the Shifting Focuses are very good in the set.
Little bit of Macho Man action on Jay's screen.
Yep. It is. Yeah, it's a very skill-based set, and although there are some pieces that are close to auto win, like the Iron Man, I think it's still possible to play well enough to deal with them effectively.
Yeah, and that is one thing I kind of want to focus on, because before we get right into this topic, those of you who are not aware, this next weekend we will be at Canadian Nationals, which is happening on May 20th and May 21st, which means, guys, the Metal Lab's going to be a little bit of rescheduling. We're working on when we're going to figure that out, but expect that to mess up next week's schedule. With that said, one of the most important things to note is that we have sealed qualifiers exclusively. And I have it on good authority that those sealed qualifiers are Avengers Defenders War. And of course, guys, for those of you, it is at the Royal Canadian Legion, 243 Coxwell Avenue in Toronto, Ontario. Make your travel arrangements based on that. Pre-registration is available on this on the Win site. Check out under Canadian Nationals. And of course, you can find out your prices and pricing or exclusives pricing on there as well. So with that said, Avengers Defenders War sealed is an important element to know if you're not coming in with your qualification. And your qualification can be, as I've recently discovered, in any country, but you can only earn one in each country. So if you've earned a qualification in Canada and in the US, you can use either of those qualifications for any nationals. But once you use it, it's gone, right? So for instance, Mike Payne in Canada has won 2 WKOs, but he's only got one qualification that he's able to use, which he's going to use for Canadian Nationals to get into immediately on the day 2 portion. So if you don't have that qualification, as I'm saying, you're playing a sealed. And you're playing a sealed Avengers Defenders War. So, Jay, you got second place in a WKO. Your information is more valuable than mine first. So you go ahead and share with the folks some of your observations from the WKO, specifically in the sealed, because it's all going to be Swiss sealed for these.
I was just going to note before everything else that I actually did co-write the primers again on HC Realms. So if you want more information on my thoughts as well as competing or other thoughts in addition to mine, because mine are only okay, you can go to HC Realms and find those. Okay. So Outwit is kind of more common in this set than you would think, because there's a common Black Panther, the shifting focus with it, and he's only 30 points with Avengers, and the amazing 50-pointer uncommon Black Panther, who also has it, as well as Leap, and he is a wild card potentially, so he can be using the Avengers team ability to get in there. So Outwit is, I feel like you could say, more common in this set than most. I've also noticed that while there is a fair amount of penetrating damage, like let's see, Elektra, the black costume one has it. One of the Visions has it. Actually, one Vision has Psychic Blast, one Vision has Exploit. Claw can do whatever he wants. Man-Thing gets on his top clicks. There's a lot of top-dial invincible, so that penetrating damage might not be as useful as you would hope. Like both Dense Vision and 75-point Hulk, the go away one, start with Invincible, and those are some of the more common ones. So Outwit might be more important than penetrating damage, but there's fair amount of stealth too. So don't instantly neglect that Jessica Jones, because she might save you, because I found her very, very useful. There's almost no problem in this field as far as CUR, except for, I think, Gargoyle, if you push him.
Yeah.
So numbers are good. Numbers are high. I was talking with Failboat, basically, and we agreed that although 10 attack is basically the average because of defenders and the ability to get the 18s, the numbers are actually harder to hit than most sets. So
there's a lot of combat reflexes and energy shield on these guys.
Yeah, so if you were like me and you were playing Man-Thing and 2 characters that are wildcards with it and that get reflexes, they are sitting at 21s.
Yeah.
Your Jessica Jones can be 21. Yeah. Yeah, it's really weird. I also think that there are, even though it looks like a pull rare to win set, there's still, if you're good and you have decent, like there are a lot of decent attackers in the CUR. Like Common Daredevil is 11-3, has good improved movement, charge. There's just a lot of little good attackers that you could, yeah, like both times Tim played 8-man squad, all attackers. If you're making 3 attacks every turn, some of them are going to hit and they're going to stick and do the damage. What else? Hydra is important. Oh, let's think. I don't remember. No, Chase Daredevil doesn't have it. Chase Cap does, and then the Hand Ninja and Karigi have it. So the high defenses in the set, in addition to all the defenders, means that Hydra can be very, very valuable, especially when you're coupling that with wild cards to take full advantage of that. I had so many times when Hydra helped me just hit a roll. So that's very important to keep in mind. Even though the 10-point ninja can die, obviously, but really valuable, I think, having stealth for protection and empower when he's in hindering, which he wants to be anyways, as well as, yeah, basically, essentially a perplex for all your range attacks. So, yeah, you don't go into this set thinking that it's, oh, that guy pulled a super rare, I only pulled rares, they automatically win. That's not true.
No.
And I've also heard people say that despite the fact that Captain Nefaria looks super, super awesome, he kind of falls apart just given the swarmy nature of the set. And like I noted before with Iron Man, that 4 damage is actually not putting down a lot of these figures. So yeah, keep that in mind. Now, but as long as you're a decent player, and sorry, what?
I was just going to say, if you happen to pull that rare Doctor Strange alongside him, you're in a different game altogether. But carry on, sorry.
Yeah, I guess final thing, it's easy to get leadership in this set, and you should definitely endeavor to use it. Like Wasp, who on top of having it, considering herself to be 100 points for it, and having shifting focus, and having sidestep, is also timed to be carried around, and is a decent attacker too. Let's see, the Cap that has it has been confirmed on the win that he can pull tokens off of all characters, including himself, regardless of points, if he rolls that 6. So he is super, super awesome. Kariki has leadership as well, stealth, he's an attacker. But if you pull leadership, you should be playing it, because you're going to have a lot of attackers, because most things in the set are 50 points.
Yeah, you're looking at 7 to 8 figures sometimes that you're not necessarily on the board because shifting focus, right? But
yeah. Also, if you have those wild cards, getting an Avengers character to wild card off of for moving can be quite valuable. Because I've run a couple events now where I've had like 5 or 6-man squads, but I was able to move effectively because my wild cards were taking Avengers to get into position.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing too, even though there's a number, I just want to kind of add some observations that you might have, I don't know, overlooked or anything like that, or might add to the conversation. As you mentioned, attacks are not great, so any way that you can get to boost them is a little better. This is why Karen Page, actually, her stock goes way up. Because if you can properly time when she gets, within 3 squares of an opposing character, she's not a 20-point throwaway risk. She could actually just be +1 attack to your entire team, as I discovered this past weekend. But it doesn't matter. I was getting +2 to all of my attacks, and I was still missing. So even my second opponent was like, my God, I've never seen anybody who's legitimately allowed to say the dice just didn't work because I was attacking with 12, 13 attacks, and I was missing ridiculously. Critical missing at times too, but that's okay. That's what happens when you crack open a new set of dice. You got to get the bad mojo out of them. I just got my new Marble Knights dice kit, and I really like the tokens, to be honest. Anyway, I'm on a rambling tirade here. So yeah, Karen Page adds to it. Doctor Strange adds to it a lot, and I can't emphasize enough what Jay was saying about the leadership, especially that uncommon Wasp, because if you read her very carefully, not only does she remove tokens from characters who are under 100 points, which is like 70% of the set. Rough guess off the top of my head, I might be wrong. But she also adds 2 actions to your action total, which is bonkers nuts, especially when you're playing with 7 to 8 figures on your team. Those 2 extra actions, so you go from 3 actions to 5 actions, you can really use that to do a ton of damage in a single turn, especially if you've detokened a really decent character. The Captain America's 4, 5, or 6 leadership and the Amazing 6. Remember, this is Avengers Defenders War. There's a few Avengers, and you can pull off that action token removal. And oddly enough, one of those guys happened to be Iron Fist for me in my local field. I went 2-1. My second game was just abysmal dice rolls. My first game was a little closer than I think my opponent thought. And he went a little more gung-ho and I guess wasn't doing the math because I was watching the whole game and I was like, he is 5 points ahead of me. I need one more kill to just like relax me. And he made that attack available. I was like, well, okay, sure. I wouldn't have been mad if he ran because he had the option to run away. He had the facing Strange. It was like, well, if he would have ran away, I wouldn't have been angry. It would have been the smart thing to do. But there it is. I managed to capitalize on that. And then the third game was just because of the release day map, it made it even worse. Because if you're not playing on the Void, you're playing on Wakanda. And Wakanda is +2 defense against range attacks that are hindered by the hindering terrain. The only character that I don't think any characters actually ignore hindering in this set for line of fire.
Hawkeye, but otherwise
Hawkeye.
not.
Yes, it was to chase Hawkeye, and he was pulled by the judge. So was it the judge? No, it was another guy. I didn't end up playing against him. That's ultimately the point. But yeah, so that factored in, and I'm almost positive those maps are not going to be official competitive play legal. I think those are going to go up in red almost immediately because they just I like that WizKids recognizes when they've made a map and it's like we can't let that hit competitive play. It's just a shame that right now, as of the number of maps that we've seen released, there's not a great deal that are available to us that aren't premium maps when you think about it, right? That's I think that's a stress point that we're going to. Anyway, long story short, this is a set where you can expect to see a lot of your fingers on the board, but there's a lot of defenses. We're back to the 9 attack, 18 defense days, kids. As in, like, it's going to be hard to hit, and every hit's going to be earned. So pay attention to everything on these dials. And make as much use as what's available as you can. And don't underestimate that rare Nighthawk. Oh my gosh, is he pretty cool. The fact that he flies and he comes with charge, flurry, stealth on that movement power, I think is pretty awesome. And flurry might as well be prob, right? So
I'm looking at the set list right now.
Yeah.
And it like the CUR, there's not really much that is just straight up unplayable in a sealed environment.
Well, and it better not be because you're playing most of it.
Yeah, like if you pull Porcupine, you might say, "Oh no, I pulled Porcupine. I'm screwed. I didn't pull a good super." That's not true at all.
No.
Even the commons and uncommons are just really good attackers.
Yeah.
So don't let your not pulling good high rarity stuff be a defeating factor mentally.
And kids, let this be a lesson. Porcupine at 40 points is not an easy kill. So it is worth it to outwit the special attack power and not his toughness, let's just say. I think it took about 3 damage from that power over the course of the Saturday tournament. I was just like, I should not be taking this. I think it was the last round where I was like, I'm going to stop taking this damage now. Oh, boy. But yeah, so Jay, you're going to be judging at the Canadian National.
Yeah, I'm not going to be playing either the sealed again or worrying about the competitive. So yes, I've been more play testing with it. What?
In the meantime, you're going to be looking at the side, watching the sweat pour off of me as I'm pulling my sealed, and then as I'm watching my team just get demolished and constructed.
Yeah. I think I've done more play testing helping my friend out for this set than I actually have for my own playing in general. But it's been interesting trying to build in this environment of everything that is basically good, and then a whole new set on top of that pre-retirement. It's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the event regardless, and it's looking to be a ton of fun. I'm hearing about all sorts of side events and whatnot. So. really pumped for that. All right. But while I am considering getting into question period, Jay, is there anything you wanted to add before I start perusing our questions?
I can't think of any. Oh, I did want to mention that the Avengers Quinjet won UK Nationals. So somebody better play that at Canadian Nationals, and I'll be very happy. It can do it, you guys. Come on. Come on. I believe in you.
I think I've promised too much on the team that I am playing that I kind of have to just man up and say, hey, that's what I'm playing. It's what I said I'm playing. I'm going to man up and do it. So I can't. I'm locked in, basically. Which is unfortunate because Krang. It's going to be a rough one. All right. All over that. Before I do get into fan questions, though, we are on Patreon. Check us out at patreon.com/Heroclix. Starting officially this month, I think it is. Yeah, the May month. We're back in action on the action tokens. So at the $10 level, we are bringing back the Heroclix action tokens. Of course, at the $10 level, that gets you early access to the videos, as well as access to the Patreon Hangout, which this month is, oh, geez. Do we have plans on the 26th, Amber?
I don't think so.
Looking like May 26th. All right, cool. So get on at patreon.com/Heroclix if you want to get in on that action. This is basically just me and Amber get in front of the camera, expose ourselves to the not that way, calm down, to the patrons and allow them to ask us just about any questions that they feel like asking, be they about the channel, be they about the game of Heroclix and our opinions in regards to that. And it's usually while I am drinking adult beverages and getting a less and less good judgment throughout the whole thing. And I tend to ramble. So if you want to hear me ramble and Amber ramble and watch me drink and hang out with our patrons, check that out. All right. But that said, let's get into questions. And, oh, geez, all three are marked at 2 hours. So we're going to start with the least important in regards to Heroclix one. That's coming from Thomas Kusturin, the man in charge of twitch.tv/Heroclix and our community channel, as we refer to it. He wants to know what our favorite Blizzard game is. Asking me to pick my favorite Blizzard game is like asking me to pick my favorite child. It's not fair to the rest of them. But I am particular to... I like Overwatch now, but I don't think it's had enough time to grow in me as, say, like Diablo or StarCraft. I'm really fond of Heroes of the Storm right now, though, because that's just everything Blizzard, and I get to enjoy that, even though it's what's it called, a MOBA. But I'm over that. Do you have a favorite Blizzard game, Jay?
Asking me what my favorite Blizzard game is like asking me about to pick a favorite child, because I don't have one. I've never played one. So.
Really? So hold on. You've never played World of Warcraft?
Nope.
You've never played Hearthstone?
Nope.
StarCraft?
Nope.
Warcraft?
Nope.
Overwatch?
Want to, but nope.
Diablo?
Nope.
Lost Vikings?
No.
Shoot. I thought I was going to catch you on that one because everybody forgets. Oh, for the Super Nintendo, Death and Return of Superman?
Nope.
Thought I was going to catch you on one of these. Rock and Roll Racing?
Nope.
Ah. All right. We're going to have to talk about your position on this show for a little bit.
Oh, man.
I'm just kidding. There we go. Jay doesn't play Blizzard games. He's basically the worst. Kevin, you can say as you will. All right. McConnell Lamar asks, if you could create a scenario that would be enticing to casual players but would be played at major tournaments, what would it be? Oh, geez. Creating a scenario that's enticing to competitive play and used at major tournaments is not a thing, in my opinion. Because, I mean, like, you'd have to just ultimately consider changing the point value or the limited format, which is already kind of there. But as far as scenario play is concerned for competitive play, it doesn't make sense for competitive environments. You kind of just have to go rules, points, go guys, go ahead. If anything, you could maybe consider adding point hold thing regarding the starting areas. So if I have X amount of characters in your starting area, I might get a couple extra points on top of that, which would entice players to really get those get up and go teams. But you'd also have to fight for that positioning as well somehow. It's really hard to just create a scenario for something on that level. And creating a scenario for casual players never ends up well anyway, because if somebody plays a better team, I often find casual players get a little upset about losing to a team that's just good sometimes. But I kind of like what I said, add some extra points for getting into your opponent's starting area to entice action, to say the least. Or, just inaction in opposing areas. Who knows, right? I don't know. What would you say, Jay?
I've tried to do this, and it did not work because it was I was helping run the 2 clicks for KO March Madness, whatever the heck that tournament was called. I did the scenario. I tried to make it as nice and thematic as possible. So I think I did with 400 golden. The only characters in your sideline or that can get called in have to match the keyword of your theme team. So you can only call an ID card character if that was a shared whatever, and you couldn't use Proteus unless you're running a keyword that he actually has. Named theme team. I forgot to say no team bases, and because this is a competitive tournament, that's what happened. No matter what the restrictions or the build, there's going to be a meta or a competitive scene there, and stuff is going to dominate. If you say name theme, there's going to be a good Adventures of Justice League are the biggest keywords in the game, so there you go. If you're having competitive players, they're going to play the best stuff available no matter what.
Yeah. And allow me this other kind of thing. Strategically, if I kill my opponent's team, they cannot complete the objective. Just saying. That's ultimately what all these things end up breaking into, is something along those lines. So, all right. Next up, Michael Fedor, our patron from the beginning. He's been a patron for all months that we've had us on patreon.com/Heroclix. He wants to know, or he claims that he was lucky enough to pull a title character from his brick, and he wants to know if we'll be doing a video explaining how to do that title character. Actually, we do have plans for a Dial It Up. Amber's working on that for the title characters. We were hoping we were going to pull a Doctor Strange, so that we had both on hand. We're just going to have to go off the information that we do know. And no matter how much I've tried to overtrade for that Doctor Strange, I can't seem to get my hands on one, because all of a sudden my favorite characters get movies when they show up in Heroclix, and it makes it really difficult for me to get them. Movie hipster, Heroclix hipster moment. I apologize. All right. Mike Bockley, hello, the Meta members. I think you've all talked about it before, but I'm curious what your feelings on maps being banned. Is it healthy to limit the number of maps available for players to choose from? Also, wish Amber a happy Mother's Day from us down here in the States. Till next week. Peace. Amber, Mike Bockley says happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Why did you choose that voice to use to say thank you?
That's what came out.
Oh, it was the weirdest squeak ever. But as to your question, Mike, about maps, I don't like that maps are getting banned because, like you said, the pool is getting smaller and smaller. But I have to agree with, when they do make the map bans that they make, there's always that one map on one of the sides that's just stupid. There's something wrong with it. But my big problem is that they ban both sides of the map, when individual sides are part of your map choice for competitive play. I don't choose both sides of the map when I bring the map. I actually choose which side of the map then bring. Now, I can use both sides of the same map. That's okay. But I have to list that both of them are options for my thing. And I think that if one side is okay, then yeah, I'm okay with, one side being banned. I'm getting a little annoyed that both sides are getting banned as a result of one side. Now, unfortunately, this time I have to agree with them banning both sides of this nonsense that they created with the Wakanda map and the Void map, or the Dark Dimension, whatever it was. Both sides had things that are not conducive to competitive play. And I do agree to a certain degree that certain types of maps should not make competitive play, but I do strongly think that they need to start looking at the side that they are banning as opposed to both sides, because if they force the Heroclix world into the premium map era, you're going to get a couple people upset at the very least, because those maps individually are $25 at $27 Canadian. They might be less in the US, I'm not sure, but I mean that's a lot out of pocket for a piece of rubber that I might use in a tournament. Jay, what do you think? I don't know. I've gone at length.
I did the math recently, and assuming that this new map is banned, which means both sides, post-rotation, 25% of all modern maps will be banned. That is a huge number.
And it's not. I don't think it's on WizKids in this case. It's on the designers. The guys designing these maps have got to dial it back, man. If you're gonna just keep getting these maps banned, stop making them that way. I mean, I get certain degrees of money making, et cetera, but if you're making it and then immediately saying, "Oh, we're not going to let that get played," are you kidding? Then why are you making it? Right? That's
There's so many maps already. Like a casual player is probably going to be playing gold and doesn't care about modern. They have like infinite maps basically. Like they're not going to need more maps all the time. But you're really having to be thinking about competitive maps, and then if you just keep on making these that get banned, the pool is just going to get ridiculously small.
Yeah,
there's no flavor to it, and there's no strategic thinking to it. When in next rotation is it going to be only the premium maps that are allowed, basically?
Yeah,
it's 2 sets in a row now that they've been insta-banned maps. So if you at least allow the non-flavored orange text sides to be okay. And now you have way more maps.
It's funny we say this because we are kind of jumping the gun and immediately saying this map is going to get banned. All signs in regards to this say it's going to get banned. But right now we only got up to the list up to Deadpool and X-Force. So we're making a lot of assumptions in this case. Got to get that out of the way right now. Because the last one they have on the list is the Speakeasy cargo plane. And guess what? Redlined on that, right? So... anyway, I'm passionate about it, and I wonder if everybody noticed. All right. Next up, we're still going on the Facebook. We're almost there in the chat, guys. So don't worry. We're going to see your questions. I promise. That's why I get you guys to write it in capital letters while you're in there and ask a question so that I can see it. Matthew Ryan asks, here's a rules question. When a duo-based character, like a Valkyrie, a Ghost Rider, or Black Knight, use their power and you move through characters, do you consider their whole base or treat it as a single base character? The rule for movement of multi-base characters is character moves as if it's a single base from the chosen square and follows all movement rules accordingly. Does that prevent you from cutting a double? Yes. Basically, you take one of your squares of your two, and you say, this is the one I'm moving from, and you move as though you're a single square. So no, you can't cut a double wide swath through a double wide line of characters. That doesn't work. You are considered a single base until you land, in which case you're back to being a double base. But of course, all parts of the base have to end up within the movement space. So it's best to always choose whatever square you're using from to move it, and always pick like the forwardmost square or something like that. And Matthew Ryan does ask, is Avengers Defenders War the set for sealed at Nationals? And all signs point to yes. All indications point that way. All right. So now we get into the questions in the chat. Kevin Afruz does point that they got to get back to that not for tournament play on the orange rules, which is 100% agreeable. Is one of the two. Oh, he's agreeing with things. Okay. Dennis Flair, when does Uncanny X-Men and Joker's Wild rotate out? Oh, geez. Well, Joker's Wild came out beginning of this year, correct, Jay?
November, I think.
Was it November? Okay. So November, they're both of the same year. Hold on. Okay, so this will be the second time we see Uncanny X-Men at Worlds, or allowed at Worlds. I think the cutoff is what's the cutoff for this year? The cutoff's like May, right? Unit section.
June, yeah.
Yeah. So the cutoff is Nick Fury this year, which is it's August actually. So if August is our cutoff date, then we're looking at the next year's August. So August 2015. So we go to August 2016, which will be legal. Holy smokes. Looks like the oldest set might be Superior Foes of Spider-Man. If the numbers work and the years work. Because Civil War is official in June. And then Uncanny X-Men, TMNT, Civil War movie, Batman vs. Superman, World's Finest, and Superman will probably also be rotated out. Although, hold on, that's 2015. I'm going overboard here. 2015. No, yeah, it could be. It could be Civil War OP being the last one cut. God, I feel like we just got that, and I'm still ashamed of it. But that's where the line is looking like. It looks like Superior Foes of Spider-Man might be the baseline for the next rotation. So, it's so quick these days. Right, he's got that there. 2018. Yeah, 2018. So Kevin Fruz is. David Brzezinski. What are the best support figures in the game right now? And is Night Nurse modern? Yes, Night Nurse is modern. She's very modern. Specifically, the Civil War OP kit, OP set one is modern. But Jay, what do you think is the best support figure in the game right now?
I'm really feeling Doctor Strange shifting focus right now between the 18 defend plus healing. Plus, they additionally reduce damage if they're an Avenger. So, in addition to reducers, like, that Iceman guy, he's one of those dudes. Or empower and enhancement and the +1. Or he's a double taxi for 50 points. I think overall.
And he clarifies best figure with support.
Oh. Well, in that case, he's Night Nurse by far.
Yeah, I mean, can you really argue with that?
No.
I guess. Well, let's see. What has
Betty Brant
on its file? What's that?
Yeah, I think Betty Brant is also really good because I know Kevin's watching.
Betty Brant's pretty good. Who else is also agreeably decent? Tony Zuko.
I can't think of anything else.
Oh no, they're about to rotate Amadeus Arkham.
Oh, who's a really good support piece because they have 11 attack and prob with it? Jakeem Thunder.
Who's a pretty good healer is Dupe. X-Men team ability, bro.
That's true.
And I've also discovered, but I have to double check if there's a ruling on this because the X-Men team ability rules don't state that roll can't be rerolled.
Yeah, and he has problems. Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Under new rule. No, but under current rules for your Canadian Nationals team, yeah, that works.
Exactly. My Canadian Nationals team, which happens to have 3 characters capable of getting at some point. Oh my gosh, my bad finger really shows up on the camera today. Which very capable of getting 3 characters of the X-Men team ability. That's right. I'm bringing the X-Men team ability back, bro.
3 X-Men team abilities and 3 probs, yeah.
That's right. I ain't taking that X-Men team ability damage, or if I'm using the healing Deadpool, I am taking that damage. Oh, it's like, no, I need to take that damage. I need to heal. Come on, let's get a move on here. All right. June. Mike. Go ahead.
I was going to add Casey Wonder Woman at lower points is also I like her for support a lot. Having 12 attack, not the easiest thing to KO, except Shredders exist, and the fact that you instead of having to position her, you place her basically in the thick of it, and then she's in position already. You don't have to worry about moving her or her being tokened after moving, whatever. You just place her where you think you're going to need her, and then yeah. And she can also do it regardless of if she or the target are adjacent to an opposing character. So yeah. Pretty solid too.
That's true. That's true. Speaking of Kingdom Come, before we continue with the question, did you hear this rumor I heard that the top 2 of Iraq recently, had the KC Superman in the top 2?
I saw the sheet.
It was a team.
Yeah, full point Superman. Yeah.
Oh, wait, and almost forgot. oddly enough, had a Pim tag.
Hmm.
New meta? I don't know. Or old meta that we all knew about?
I wonder if we're going to be seeing some Casey Specters chucking that thing 12 squares across the map.
All right, I'm throwing the tank, but I'm throwing the tank, but it's so far. I don't care. I'm throwing it. Kaboom! From 12 squares away.
Yeah, with
right.
no -1. Yeah, that works pretty well.
Exactly. Okay, Mike Bockley is in the chat now, and he wanted to add to his question. He wants to ask, do we think that The Rock should also start rotating their own maps?
I don't think they really can. That's most of their pricing. Outside of cold hard cash if you go to the World Cup. But if they start losing that, yikes.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I mean, they don't release at such a huge rate. The only people allowed to use them are the people that have them. The only place you're allowed to use them is The Rock. I don't think it's in their best interests to limit those maps. I just I don't feel like they need to rotate, to be brutally honest. Their maps are actually not terribly unbalanced. I think there's only one that I saw any sort of design flaw in, and that was the one with the factory with like one closed off space that if you happen to have phasing, you could hide your entire team in. Outside of that, I think that's the only one that I can think of that really had any sort of design flaw. I don't know. So, yeah. And plus, we're getting a boxing ring anyway that's going to replace that wrestling ring. And the boxing ring from Muhammad Ali Superman does a thing. And that thing is gross. And I don't want to talk about that thing. And I can't wait till Faust is gone with that thing in existence.
Wait, so you mean up until that point you were not looking forward to Faust going away?
No. I've always been looking forward to Faust going away. But it's like now he's got the boxing ring. So yeah, since Ed crushed my soul with that and a Doctor Strange, and that was when it had no range and was able to use prob with it, and it's like, I'm just gonna sit here all game. If I get like 2 turns, if I can get 2 turns in a row where I can do something, I might be able to salvage points. And when I was almost able to salvage points, Ed said no. And I still had to play against him in this next Seals qualifier. Karma. That was not a good year for Nationals for me. And I don't think this particular year is going to be very successful either. But, I'm confident in my sealed ability to get to day 2. All right. Okay. Fabricio Guerraros asks, how ready and confident are you guys on your teams? He came late, and sorry if I've already answered. Okay, so as long as I'm not staring at a Krang and a Justin Seyfert, I am pretty confident that I can play my team particularly well and to the best of my ability can do fairly decently in a lot of the particularly rough matchups. The second a Krang gets across the table for me, and if I lose the map roll while I'm going to weep, I'm probably going to extend my hand very quickly and say, this is going to not be a good game, but you're going to win. Good luck. And so on and so forth. But I'm as confident as I'm going to be in my team. I had no aspirations of winning Canadian Nationals with this team because I'm just kind of taking a more approach to it. Shrugging my shoulders. No intention to go into Worlds, so I don't, just kind of want to play and have a little bit of fun if I can, and let my opponents have a little bit of fun too. If they didn't come for fun, I'm not gonna have any. There's a couple tricks I've actually got to test to see if they work the way I think they're going to work. But my God, his numbers are disgusting sometimes. Well, what confidence do you need to just kind of walk around and ask the occasional question, right? It's come on, Jay. Here, have some liquid confidence.
Speaking of which, I'm pretty confident that I will not lose at Canadian Nationals. And if I somehow manage to lose at Canadian Nationals, I'm going to quit the game.
Now, what happens if you lose your pants at Canadian Nationals?
I don't know if that counts as losing a Heroclix game, so I'll have to ask another more qualified judge.
Okay, just checking. Joke question from Fabricio also. Have you planned already the retirement? Oh, man. My retirement party for some of the figures next rotation is going to be... It's going to be hot, to say the least. It may or may not involve blowtorches. It may or may not involve garbage cans. It may or may not involve hammers. I haven't decided yet. But some figures are getting violently removed from the meta.
I love how we're thinking so far ahead into the meta this episode. Like, this one hasn't even kicked in. We're thinking about next retirement.
Yeah, Canadian Nationals is next week. So what do we think about the next rotation? It's like,
what are we thinking about for a year and 2 rotations from now?
I'm trying to find out how much it's going to cost to rent a wood chipper.
I'm looking forward to stealing all your good stuff from your collection when it all retires.
Now, define good stuff. You mean the stuff that's been dominating the meta? Because I don't know if that stuff's going to be in sellable condition.
I do actually want a Krang for my TMNT collection to play with the villains.
Oh,
and
dude,
not
if
with
you think you're getting any of my Ninja Turtle stuff, you're drunk.
I know. Not you.
I'm cool with Krang. Krang's not a problem. In fact, his little friend, Justin Safert, if I happen to, I don't know what happened to mine. I may have already had an early retirement party for him and thrown it into the garbage. I'm not sure. He's not here anymore. If I had, if there was anything right now I wanted to do that too, it's Justin Safert, because Krang is fine. Krang is just a pretty good character.
Mm-hmm.
Include Justin Safert with him.
It's fun talking about Krang with competitive players because they will all say Krang is trash. Justin Safert, though.
Yeah. Krang with Justin Safert, on the other hand. Let me tell you about something there, boys. Oh, God. Oh, it's going to be such a good time to be like the. Okay, I know we're talking way into the future, et cetera, but honestly, like when that stuff is gone, unless they make something stupid in the meantime, it's going to be so cool to play Heroclix. You're going to be allowed to be a little bit more creative again, as long as they don't do something stupid. Oh wait, Jakeem Thunder, right? So we still got another year of Jakeem Thunder to deal with.
Me too.
Yeah. So, can I steal all your? Fabrizio goes on to ask if you can steal all my stuff before I burn it. And also, people sell $5 files for $5, so you can make a nice bonfire. I don't need to make a bonfire fast. I just want to do things to the one that I own. I want to do violent, horrible things to it. I'm going to record it on video, and I'm going to find a way to make sure the sound comes out so that when we do it on this show, everybody can just... I might actually revert to using OBS, which is a long-term plan I'm working on. I want to get OBS working with YouTube so I don't get restricted by Google Hangouts as my streaming tool and whatnot. But yeah, Kevin also points out that Jakeem's not going to be so bad in the new rules because of the new outwit. You can actually pre-outwit powers that are going to be problematic for you. Like I can use my 30-point Black Panther, like old school bro, to outwit the invincible. That would be a problem. And then, even if he picks outwits, like doesn't matter, you can't use it. I'm shooting you. I
don't know about that though.
Why not?
Considering he can pick stealth himself, and also that that resource, like the one resource we're gonna have post retirement. That big branding jar? Yeah, stealth willpower. Yeah. And there's going to be not much stealth-busting outwit outside of what? If you give Faust Brainiac, like, I can't think of very much stealth-busting outwit. Nick Fury is still Nick Fury. Peggy is still around, but it's not like every outwitter is going to have line of fire to Jakeem at all times.
I can make it happen. You underestimate my powers, sir. You oftentimes underestimate my capabilities and my nonsense. I'm going to do the thing that does the thing that makes the thing. Oh, wait. It's going to be a meta where Jessica Jones exists.
Nice.
What stealth, bro? She's going to hang out with Karen Page. I'm going to get +1 attack, too. What?
Nice.
It's funny. People keep talking about Supreme Intelligence. Guess what? That rotates with Faust. They came out in the same year.
That's true.
Bye. Don't get too excited and attached to your Supreme Intelligences, folks. It goes with Faust, which is next year. All right, we've gone on at length about this nonsense. No issue to Dr. Octopus 2099. I got no issues with the Mandarin, but right now there's no Mandarin in the modern game, and the Mandarin rings are more of a Golden Age kind of question. So check some of the older episodes. I know we covered the power plant and the Mandarin rings in some of our older content. So it's kind of where you want to find that conversation in particular. But with that said, folks, it's been an evening. We got Canadian Nationals next week, so it's a bit of a short episode. Not a lot going on. With that said, I want to say thanks to our sponsors over at hcrealms.com. HC Realms is your one-stop place for all sources of things HeroClix. You see this? This is the unit section. This is the primo site to keep track of all your HeroClix stuff. If you're building a team, build a team in here. It's as simple as going, I don't know, I'm going to build something with Deadpool and the X-Force. Let's start with, I don't know, the rare Deadpool that teleports. He's 37A. I like him. Why not Cable? Cable's a pretty cool character. I'm going to add him to my team. I'm going to add Dupe as well. And then I'm going to throw, I don't know, a bunch of stuff on the team as well. And I can find that in other sets. I don't know. Let's try Trinity War. Trinity War has something interesting. I think it's called Pandora's Box. Pandora's Box is in there somewhere. And look, right next to Pandora's Box is all the sins at appropriate point values. You know what's pretty good? I hear Sloth is pretty okay. I don't know. Wrath is pretty good. A Lust is pretty reasonable too. I think that's a pretty good one. What do you think? I do this every time, and I wonder if they've noticed yet.
You can hope.
Why not? Let's throw Gluttony in there too. Gluttony's pretty reasonable. You know what?
Alan Scott is annoying, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to deal with his barrier somehow. You know what else is pretty interesting thing to add? I'm going to add some kind of possessor. I don't know. Let's go to Superman, Wonder Woman. I think they have a pretty decent possessor. Let's look in the chases. Look, there's Brainiac, and they even have both point values. They got him at 150 as a figure or 25 points as a possessor. So I'll add the possessors to my team. That seems reasonable. And look at that, guys. We're almost done a full-blown HeroClix team in a matter of seconds. Look, let's add some ID cards because that's what this team needs. I think the Atom's a pretty reasonable one. I think the Green Lantern might be a pretty good ID card. You know what else is a pretty good ID card? Nick Fury. Where's the Nick Fury set? Because I think there's a Shield level 7 is a pretty reasonable ID card. What do you think?
I cannot disagree.
You can't disagree, of course. And of course, I can throw on my Nick Fury for the Cable. And look at that. It's keeping track of my team, my points. It's keeping track of all the things that I've added to the team. It doesn't keep track of my sideline, but that's stuff I can do later on. This looks like a reasonable team. Jay, what do you think?
I like it, and you have theme because you can search by keyword, and there you go.
Look at that. Look, I could just click on a character, click on the X-Force keyword. That's everything that's got the X-Force. It's such a good tool. It's the best tool, guys. So if you're if you're running, if you're building your team, tracking your collection, hcrealms.com, the unit section, best tool. The forums, it's where the conversation is happening, where a lot of people are talking about the ongoing metagame. Check out the rock section. Find out where your local rock events are happening. Excuse me. Also, while you're there, click the shop button. Get some of the cool swag that they have there. Put in the coupon code MARRIED for 10% off of your purchase. A little bit of kickback comes back to the channel. 100% not going to lie to you. Then we're also brought to you in part by MajesticCCG.com, your other stop for all things HeroClix, especially if you're looking for information from the great minds of the game. And if you know what, it's a great site I hear is the Apex Insiders, and that's MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders. This is where you get the brains of this game just spilling onto the paper and sharing their information with you. This is $3 a month, gets you access to this content. But of course, if you just go to the homepage, There's all sorts of free articles, especially very quickly oftentimes. Rock event results do find their way to the MajesticCCG.com main page. Excuse me. So we've already got Frontline in Clarksville, Tennessee up, won by Sam Powell. Oh, wait, what's this? Is this the Rules Corner with Amber Collins? If you're looking for some content from this, guys. Jay is a regular contributor with his Why Am I Not Playing This Figure articles. And I used to regularly contribute, and then I got this ridiculous job that's really awesome, but takes up a lot of my time. I'm sure I'll get back to it soon enough. But with that said, guys, thank you guys for watching live or in the archive. Again, check us out at patreon.com/Heroclix if you want to support us directly. If you're a YouTube Red member, thanks for just watching. If you're watching, with your ad block pause, we appreciate that as well. Any little bit comes to support us a little bit more. We're pretty safe from the YouTube adpocalypse. We've been pretty good about our content, and nothing's really getting stripped of anything. So you being here is enough for us. But with that said, guys, Canadian Nationals is around the corner. You got to get those teams ready. And one of the best ways to get that team ready is looking at that information and getting some practice, because practice
makes
your
team
better. Jay, congratulations on second place at the WKO this past weekend. Guys, we're going to be Canadian Nationals this weekend. We hope to see you there. Once again, that will be 243 Coxwell Avenue, Toronto, Ontario, the Royal Canadian Legion, May 20th and 21st. We'll be there. He'll be judging. Amber will be judging. I'll be playing. And then trying to figure out which judge I can ask without anybody getting suspicious. Have a good night, everybody.